anniversary vigil for Jonathan Maldonado. As many of you know, Mr. Maldonado died at this very location at the hands of the Greenburgh police. He had an encounter with the police here. He was alive when he met them, and he died in their custody. They want to claim that he's responsible for his death. We filed a lawsuit, and that lawsuit is proceeding in court, and at the end of the day, a jury in White Plains will tell us who was responsible for the death of Jonathan Maldonado. And I will tell you that that jury will not say that he killed himself. That didn't happen. So we'll find out one day soon. This family has been on a journey for a long time. But I want to tell them, and you know this, there's someone here tonight who's been on a journey for 9 years with us, and that's Kenneth Chamberlain. So the journey that you're on may last longer than you want it to. But rest assured, victory comes in the morning. So just stay the course, we'll get there. We have a list of speakers, we'll be short and brief. I'm going to introduce I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm Randy McLaughlin. I'm one of the lawyers for the Jonathan Maldonado family, as well as the Chamberlain family. And with me is my co-counsel, Deborah Cohen, who will speak about something that happened in the court recently. Also with us somewhere out here is Casey Perlman, who's one of our associates, or only associate.
Did you say where Nancy is?
I'm sorry. Nancy is home sick. She's resting at home under doctor's orders. She couldn't come. She asked us to do this in her honor and in honor of Jonathan. So I want us to be just as voiceful and prideful and hopeful and prayerful tonight as she would be if she were here.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Deborah Cohen. Good evening, many of you. One of the lawyers for the family of Jonathan Maldonado. And I think it's so important that you're all here, especially since Nancy herself can't be here. And I think we all share such love and admiration for her, for the courage that she has shown in trying to be the voice of her son. Because she and Freddie and Jonathan's brothers and his nieces, including his beautiful new niece, they really now represent him on this earth. And they need your strength and your love to keep putting one step in front of the other to do that. And when I say speak for Nancy Maldonado tonight, which is what we're here to do since she can't be with us, I'm really struck by how precious it is to have the right for her to have the right to speak on behalf of her son, who can't speak for himself. And that right has really been crystallized by what were efforts in a court of law, by the town of Greenburgh to keep her from being able to speak. I think many of you know from attending a Black Lives Lost rally in White Plains that Ken Chamberlain organized at a time when all across the country people were speaking out and speaking up about concerns with how policing was taking place in this country. And yet we're ignoring the fact that lives have been lost right here in Westchester County, including Kenneth Chamberlain Jr.'s father, including Nancy Maldonado and Freddie Maldonado's son, Jonathan Maldonado. And Nancy is not giving a lot of interviews, as many of you know. She was speaking here at the vigils have been held every year on the anniversary of Jonathan's death, or when people would gather to celebrate his birthday, but she really wasn't giving interviews. And after a rally that was held here in the beginning of June, she gave what was really her first in-depth interview to A.J. Woodson at Black Westchester Magazine's and Black Westchester Magazine's radio program. And for those of you who've seen it, it was, again, such a a courageous effort on her part to make some sense of Jonathan's death and put it in the larger context of what has been going on all across the country. And what was the response of the town of Greenburgh? It was to go to court and file a motion to keep her from making statements in the future. We told you on that day in front of the White Plains Courthouse that we would fight back on her behalf, and we did. And I'm very pleased to be able to tell you that the judge in that lawsuit denied the motion of the town of Greenburgh in its entirety. So Nancy Maldonado, with you all, I hope giving her all the support you can, will continue to speak out about what happened to her son, how it has affected her and their family, and really how it should affect all of us as we go forward on this really almost never-ending walk for justice.
Next, we're going to hear some words from Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. Many of you know about his father. His father was killed not too far from here in White Plains. We took that case to trial. We fought with the judge. We went to the Second Circuit. We got, thanks to Ms. Cohen, many of her decisions reversed. And we're going back to that federal courthouse, that same judge, and we're going to try that case again. And as I said earlier, victory will come in the morning. Now, his name is Ken Chamberlain, and he's a member of the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform. But there's another name that Debbie gave him the other night, and that's what I'm going to call him tonight. He's not just Ken Chamberlain, he is a general for justice. He's on that journey, and he knows about the fight and how long it takes. But what did I say? Victory comes in the morning. Okay.
I'm going to use this.
Go ahead.
I've been wanting to use it. Good evening. Huh? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. Let's just see. Nope, I think I'm not going to be able to. Here we go. Here we go.
The general will not be silenced.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. As Randy said, my name is Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. I am one of the co-founders of the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform. This coalition was founded in 2012 after the extrajudicial killing and summary execution of my father, Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., in White Plains, New York, by members of the White Plains Police Department. So I am not just a co-founder of an organization whose objective is greater transparency and accountability within police departments. I am a family member of a victim of injustice. When I come out to events like this, it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart because of a number of reasons. One, it takes me back to the day that my father was killed. But it also pains me because I know what the family is going through. I know about those sleepless nights. I know about you smiling one minute and then the next minute you're in tears. I know about the second guessing yourself, wondering whether or not you could have done something to prevent this tragedy from happening. I think about those things all the time, every day. 9 years later, I still think about those things. Trauma is real in this type of situation. Nancy couldn't be here today, but she asked me to be her voice today.
Yeah.
And I came here to speak. I won't be silenced. I will say the things that she wants to say, but she just doesn't know how to put it in words right now. But like I told her, when her pain turns to passion, she'll be doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. You know, in 2015, Governor Andrew Cuomo signed an executive order, 147A, that called for an independent prosecutor whenever an unarmed person was killed by police. In June of this year, he signed into law what he himself called the most aggressive police reform legislation in the nation. Now, with that, we saw the ban on chokeholds. You saw the repeal of 50A, which would protect police officers' records, especially when there was some type of misconduct or criminal behavior. We saw the creation of task force throughout Westchester County. Some of these task forces have met, and some of them have not met. But what we have not seen to date is any officer being held accountable in the killing of an unarmed individual. Why is that? You have the New York State Attorney General. And I'm saying it right now, and those of you who are recording it, please make sure you post it. I have zero confidence in the New York State Attorney General, Tish James. I have zero confidence. She has not shown me anything yet to make me believe that she is for all the people and not just some of the people. How are you conducting your investigation? How are you doing it? Are you bringing your own investigators down? Are you questioning witnesses? Are you going to the scene where the crime happened? Or are you just reading from the same playbook that all of these other prosecutors have read from? You are no different than Snyderman. And I'm very upset that I even voted for you. I will say this, New York State Attorney General, if you aggressively go after police officers that commit misconduct, brutality, and criminality just as diligently as you go after President Trump, then we won't have a problem with you. Now, I know some of you out here may have friends, acquaintances who are law enforcement officers. We are not saying that all police officers are bad. However, those that do commit wrongdoing, rather than hold them accountable, these municipalities circle the wagons and they protect these officers and they go back out there and commit the same offenses. I would not be surprised if this police officer that is responsible for the death of Jonathan has something in his criminal history or in his record. I wouldn't be surprised. The officer that was involved in the killing of my father had beaten 2 Jordanian brothers and called them ragheads before killing my father. So this cycle continues on and on and on. You notice, you don't see elected officials standing out here denouncing this. Why? Because what they're doing right now with these task force, most of it is just political posturing. They are adopting something publicly when they do not really feel the same way privately. Do not be afraid to speak up and support the Maldonado family. You have to. They are hoping you stay silent. You don't see a lot of numbers out here, but from what I understand, these are consistent numbers. And I'd rather have consistency than somebody that's just putting a hashtag up saying Black Lives Matter or hashtag Justice for Jonathan. You want consistency. You need to remember these elected officials when election time comes around. Vote them out. Their leadership is compromised, and when leadership is compromised, leadership must change. We have to put new people in office. They are saying Black Lives Matter, but we're not seeing a difference. But they'll yell all lives matter. How can all lives matter when our lives don't matter? How can it? It cannot. It's impossible. The Maldonado family is not looking for sympathy. That is not what they're looking for. They're looking for you to connect with them, to identify with them, to understand that Jonathan could be your brother, your friend, your uncle. He could be your relative. Do not let these types of tragedies come into your home before you feel the need to stand up and speak out against it. I've been to far too many vigils. I've stood with far too many families. I've smiled with them. I've cried with them. I spoke to Nancy 2 days after my father's vigil. I spoke to her on the phone for 45 minutes. For 15 minutes, she did nothing but cry. For 15 minutes. And I let her do that because I understand her pain. You have to remember, we are not anti-law enforcement. We are anti-individuals who feel they can do whatever they want to whomever they want. Remember that. They will try to spin it and make you believe that when Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. stands out here and speaks about these things, he doesn't like police officers. That's not true. I'm standing out here because an injustice took place, and to date, there's been no accountability. Since the killing of my father, you've had what? Samuel Cruz. You've had Rayneck Turner. You have Kamal Flowers. Thank God we can say Anthony Smith, but he's still alive. He was shot, but he's still alive. And the young man we are here remembering right now, Jonathan Maldonado. I know what his mother is feeling. I know what some of you are feeling right now. Because I don't have to know Jonathan personally when I look at all of your faces right now. I know him through you. I see your pain. I see your hurt. But this is how we take action. That means when there's court dates, we have to show up. We have to be present. We have to let them know in that courtroom that we are demanding accountability. If we have to go in front of the Greenberg police station and rally, then that's what we have to do, demanding justice for Jonathan. Shame on the town village of Greenberg.
Shame on them.
Why would you try to stop a mother for talking about her child? Why would you do that? And call the lawsuit frivolous. It's not frivolous. You know why we have to move forward civilly? We have to move forward civilly because they lie locally. They hide evidence. So the only way that we can find anything out is when we move forward civilly, because then we find out what may or may not have been presented on a local level. And I can guarantee you, and I don't know that the total thing about this case, every aspect of it, but I can guarantee you that something is going to come out that we're going to say, what? We never heard that. Because this is what they do. They all read from the same playbook. Anyone within the sound of my voice that knows New York State Attorney General Letitia James, we sent a letter to you asking that you look into these cases. And to date, I have not heard anything back. Do not say you didn't receive the letter, because I sent it certified, so somebody had to sign for it. So I just want to say again, I'm here to the Maldonado family. I stand with you now and forever. Don't think that you cannot ever pick up the phone and call me and tell me that you need me. I am going to be there. Just know that. because again, I know exactly what you're feeling right now. I wish I could talk to my father. I wish I could just have a silly conversation with him. I'm sure many of you are thinking the same exact thing. But what I want you to do right now is not think about the loss of Jonathan. Right now, just for a few seconds, think about something that Jonathan used to do that made you smile or that made you laugh. Or they just made you look at him and just shake your head and just say, I don't know about you. Think about that right now. Because if we're going to remember his life the best way possible. Let's not remember that we're going to remember that he lost his life, but remember the good things. It's too easy to talk about the tragedy. Talk about what made you smile about Jonathan. Nancy, I know that you're home. I know that you're not feeling well. You are my sister in this fight. I love you. Take care of yourself. Mental and physical health is so important in this fight because the city wants to wear you down. They want to break you. And you have to make sure that you are healthy and strong enough to stay in this fight. To the other family members, check on her. Make sure she's okay. She's going to have good days and she's going to have not so good days. She's going to have days where she's going to smile and she's going to laugh and she's going to joke and then she's going to get silent. And you're going to see the tears. And just be with her. It's nothing prophetic or profound that you need to say. Just stand there and be with her. I want to thank the Maldonado family for allowing me to speak, to be Nancy's voice this evening. I hope I did her justice. Remember, stand by her, show up at these court dates, confront your elected officials. You know, ask them their positions on police reform, on oversight. And if it's not what you want to hear, vote them out. Get them out of office. Because if you do not, the cycle will continue. Thank you.
Hey, good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Our last speaker is Lauren Cater, the sister, and she will say some remarks and close us out.
You don't know me, but
I know you, bro.
You know me?
I know you, brother.
Can we talk for 1 minute?
Sure, bro.
I don't want to be disrespectful, but
Okay.
Kenneth,
Good evening.
well, Kenneth, first of all, let me start by saying my condolences for the loss of your father. 9 years have passed by, but I'm sure that to you, it feels like it was yesterday. Okay? This type of pain never goes away. And me telling, I know what you're feeling, it's really not true. Only you feel what you feel. Yeah, let me.
As we forgive those who trespass against us.
I'm ready.
So back to Mr.
We're
Kimberlin.
going to do the balloon release. It's beautiful. Bring your cameras. Film it.
Police reform.
Don't forget, we have this case.
Is it really happening? Or is this something that the politicians are saying to appease the people? Are we really seeing a change?
Well, see, that is the issue right there. That has been my problem. Why did it have to take a legislative package before these municipalities in Westchester County began to even start looking at what reform is? You know, it shouldn't have taken that. Why is it that you still continue to see people losing their lives and no one is being held accountable? So this is why I maintain that, to me, it looks like nothing but a bunch of political posturing. That they're adopting something in public, when privately they feel totally different. So reform is one word, it's accountability. And until these officers are being held accountable for these egregious acts, to me, I don't see any change and nothing is happening.
Now, you said something, and I think we should emphasize on this. You are not against police officers, all police officers. I am not against all police officers, but I am definitely against those that commit atrocities and crime. And we have to make it clear that what we are against, it's those that commit crime. The same way that they were against those that committed crimes, they should enforce the laws in the same manner. Let's talk a little bit about that, sir.
Okay, so one of the things that I always make sure that I stress anytime I speak, I always say that as one of the co-founders of the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform, we are not anti-law enforcement. We are anti-individuals who feel they can do whatever they want to whomever they want. If that is you, then I am anti-you, because I believe in the rule of law. And the rule of law says that the government, its agents and officials are to be held to the same set of rules that enables a fair and functioning society. So if we're talking about equal justice under the law, then that means the same way you would put handcuffs on me for committing an egregious act, murder, or anything like that, then you need to do the same thing with these police officers and not, as I say, circle the wagons and protect them and allow them back out there into the streets to commit these acts again.
Now, a year ago, this time, I was right here and we interviewed Nancy. And after that interview, that's when the gag order came because of the interview that she gave us. What do you think they are hiding? Why are they afraid that the mother speaks about the death of her son?
Well, here's the thing. One thing that I do know from reading the AG's report, you see that the medical examiner alleges that Jonathan died due to drugs. But then you have a private medical examiner, Dr. Michael Biden, who says no, he died as a result of his interaction with law enforcement. So here's where the disconnect is. Who's telling the truth? You see, it wouldn't be uncommon for medical examiners to side with law enforcement. That's not an uncommon thing. This is why you have to get your own private medical examiner to look at the case. So to automatically say that the case is frivolous, I think is unacceptable and is disrespectful to Nancy Maldonado and her son and the life of her son. You don't do that. That's not what you do. You know, she should be able to speak about her son in any way that she wants. And I'm not sure, and I don't believe that she said anything that could be misconstrued. But see, they're worried about the court of public opinion. That's what they're worried about. But see, let's look at it again. I mean, did you adhere to all your policies? And then if you read the report that the AG put out, she says that there was no criminal wrongdoing, but you gave recommendations to the police department on policing. So if you're giving them recommendations, then that means they did something wrong.
You don't correct something that wasn't wrong, right?
Right.
Now, if you were talking to her here, right now, face to face, what would you tell the AG?
I would tell her again that we sent a letter asking that she look at these cases in Westchester County because families that are impacted by police violence in Westchester County so far have zero confidence in you. We have our own George Floyds in Westchester County. okay? Jonathan Maldonado, Kamal Flowers, Detective Christopher Ridley, DJ Henry, Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., Samuel Cruz, okay? Raynette Turner. These are all people who died at the hands of law enforcement. So you mean to tell me that there's been no true bill in any of these cases? So if you are truly for all the people, AG, then this is what you need to do. And just as I said earlier, if you attack police misconduct, brutality, and criminality just as diligently as you go after President Trump, then we'll be okay. Because we'll believe that you are really trying to do the right thing. And I hope that now that you've impaneled the grand jury in the Daniel Prude case, that you come back with something there. And then we have to wonder, what are they presenting to the grand juries? Because we know that you can't put murder on the table and expect that even if there was an indictment, you can't prove that murder, a police officer committed murder. Because you can't prove intent. But you can prove recklessness, you can prove manslaughter, you can prove those things. So are you going to put those things on the table as well when you're considering charges? I hope she does. And hopefully now that we have a new DA in Westchester County, that maybe some of these families will now see justice.
And like you said, and if you're not happy with your elected officials, vote them out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Don't go away.
How you feeling, man?